Hey y'all, how are y'all doing on this wonderful Wednesday, you guys? I hope that you guys are doing well because it is week 4. Whoop whoop. It has officially been 4 weeks since I have been putting out podcasts. It has been a whole month. Oh my God. I know that some of you guys probably, for some of you guys, probably haven't been a whole month yet, or you don't seem like it, but like when I started recording, it was a whole month, but but nonetheless, you guys, yes, y'all, I'm so excited about it. And I hope that this podcast is reaching the people who it needs to reach, and things of that nature. So make sure you like, you share, and pass it along to people who really needs to hear this podcast and stuff like that, just so people can know that they are not alone in this journey called life on today. Because a lot of times we do a lot of comparing ourselves to other people, and we think, oh well, well, if such and such got it like that, we should be able to have it like that. Like social media and things of that nature will like have you thinking that you're like the bottom of the bottom. But we have to realize that people are only going to put on social media they're good. Like you may come across a few people like myself who tell y'all like the good and the bad. But a lot of times people show you their best, show themselves in their best light. So you can't necessarily be like, oh, such and such, she always winning and I'm always down. Because truth be told, such and such who you looking at, she be down too. She or he isn't always winning. Like, yes, we all go through some things. So, I just want people to know that, hey, like, yes, you're going to go through some things, but get up, try your best, and keep it moving. Like, a lot of times people do not try. And it's always, I wish, I wish, I wish. And it's just like, or I wish, or I don't know. I don't know how to do this. So you let that fear hold you back. I didn't know how to run a private practice. I'm going to get into that later, child. Still don't. The time. Still don't. I am working my way through it. I don't know. I didn't know how to record a podcast. Still don't. Y'all heard that first show where I had that sharp ending, so yes, I don't know neither. Like, but I'm out here trying to figure out how to do it and just doing it. So I encourage you guys to do the same thing too. Let's just get out there and let's really start doing the things that we want to do and doing the things that we are called to do. Okay. That wasn't even a part of today's topic, but nonetheless. All right, you guys. So I know that you guys are expecting, if you listen to last week's episode, I know that you guys are expecting a guest. However, we don't have a guest today. And let me explain why we do not have a guest. The guest that I was supposed to have, I reached out to her last week, but unfortunately she was sick when I reached out to her. And so we were supposed to schedule something for Monday. However, I end up getting an amazing opportunity to go to a business coaching session in Alexandria at what time it was supposed to be, at 3:45 p.m. So I end up I couldn't meet with her on Monday. And so like our schedules didn't allow us to meet. So, but nonetheless, I am going to reach back out to her again and to see if we can get her on the podcast for next week, you guys. Because I really do think that it's super duper important to learn more about intimacy and, sexual education and all that other great stuff that she will be able to bring to the podcast. And so that we can learn, we do not like sex is not discussed that much. It's almost like it's a shame. And it's such a stigma around talking about sex, but we know people are having sex. Okay? We know that you're having sex. You have children, okay? But nonetheless, you guys, so just her just coming and just really educating us. I'm super excited about that. She has actually agreed to come on the podcast. So yes, but so that's with the guests and things. Let's see what else we need to go ahead and talk about. I want to talk about, before I get into today's topic of unmasking myself, or coming from beyond the mask, from behind the mask. I want to talk about this weekend. Y'all, this weekend, this past Friday was amazing. If you live in the Alexandria area, and you already know what I'm going to discuss, because if you don't, you have been living under a rock. This past week was the 90s party. And when I tell you guys, it was such an amazing party. It was such a whole vibe. You know how people are talking about, it's a vibe thing. It was such a whole vibe at the 90s parties. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because it it brought back memories from my childhood, that like nostalgic memories from my childhood that were really great. And I could just see from my childhood and what my parents did, what we're doing now as adults. So back when, I can't remember the age, but back in the day, in Alexandria, there used to be this thing called the Mason Ball. And so it was for African American people to come, get dressed up, put on your good clothes, put on your good hats and all this other kind of stuff, where you just really dress up and you just really look nice. And you bring your own food for your table. Like, you get a table and you bring your own food, you bring your own alcohol. Like, it's a really good time. Like, everybody is dressed nicely, like a great time. Hair, nails done and everything. And so I can remember my mom getting dressed, me helping her get dressed for this whole Mason Ball. I can remember like my grandmother, my great grandmother, my grandfather used to buy her minks and stuff like that, like real live fur coats. They're real. Shout out to Peter. Sorry, y'all. But back in the day, that was a big thing for African American people to have, fur, real minks. And so my mom used to go and ask my great grandmother, could she borrow the mink? Like, y'all, I'm just like, oh my God, like, she got Graham mink, and like my mom would let me try it on, y'all, and I'd be like, oh God. But a whole big to do thing, and like my mom could wear it to the party, but she had to bring it back to my great grandmother that night. Like, she was not playing about these coats, y'all. But oh my God, my mom looked so beautiful, and her and her husband, he would have his tux on. Like, it was a big to do thing for African American people in the back then. And so it reminded me of that. Although we're not wearing the fancy dresses, the furs, the tuxedos, but like, we still have you get you a table, you bring your food, you bring your alcohol, you get with your girls, and you get with your guys, or you get with, couples get together, and you dressed in your best 90s, like your best 90s outfit. And so like, there's a contest for the table. So it's all of that amazing stuff. And so this week, it was such a great time. Like I said, a whole vibe. No fighting, none of that. Just young African American millennials like myself coming together, having a good time. So shout out to Jermaine Davis, who puts on the whole 90s thing. Kudos to you guys for actually doing that. Kudos to everybody that came, and like, seeing people who I haven't seen in a long time. And like, it's me going to the 90s party, or me just going out period, is a really big thing, because I don't go out much. Because I don't like large crowds of people. I've always been that way. And so that's just something that, yeah, that's just me. I haven't worked through it. Don't know if I will work through it, because like, if I was to go to like a party or something, like when I was in college, like, I was stand in the back. I would never be in the crowd. If I would be in the crowd, it would just be to go up there to see something and come back. So yes, so but the side convention center where it was at, it's a big place. So even though it was like a lot of people, it still was big enough. Like a lot of people was on the dance floor. So like me and my friends, we were at our table, and we was just dancing by the table and stuff like that. We did go to the dance floor at least once, but it was so hot up there to where we were just like, let's go by the table, and other people was around their table too, and they were dancing. So we just had a good time. So such an amazing event, the 90s. And so I actually seen a few clients. No, yeah, I saw two clients there. And like we acknowledged each other in a subtle way, but they was just like, hey girl, or whatever. And so I was like, hey. And so they was like, I see you, I see you. And so because I had on some fishnets and some Daisy Dukes, if you want to call them. And so your girl was out there. She was cute with her little Tupac shirt on, fishnets and little shorts or whatever. So giving the girls what they need, come on now. But nonetheless, you guys, let's just go ahead and jump into today's topic, you guys. This is actually my second time recording this podcast because the first one was super duper long. And so yeah. But nonetheless, y'all, so the first thing that I want to talk about is that I actually joined a master group for clinicians, right? So I was in this Facebook group, and this guy, he was like, hey, I'm looking to create a mastermind group for clinicians, people who are like-minded like myself, that that want to dream big, and all these other different kind of things and stuff like this. So I was like, hey, yeah, that sounds like something that I would like to do or whatever. And so we started talking, we started communicating through email, and he talked about, his whole vision and stuff like that, and what he wanted to see for the mastermind group. And I was like, yes, that's something that, I feel like aligns with what I'm trying to do. When we talked about the whole Tyler Perry studios and stuff like that. And I was just like telling him that, I'm trying to build my own table, So he was like, yeah. And so, we talked or whatever, and it was so good. So today, which is Monday when I'm recording this, you guys, it's like 11:30 p.m. too. So Monday when I'm recording this, so the mastermind group was on Monday. So this is where I want to come from behind my mask. Like, I want to put my mask down and really discuss and really talk to you guys about like what I discovered. So in the mastermind group today, like we were just talking or whatever, it was like it's 5 people all together, including myself. So it was 4 people that was on the call and stuff like that. And so we were talking, giving them just introducing ourselves. And so towards the end, he was like, tell me one thing that you're struggling with, right? So I think I ended up going first. I was like, one thing that I'm struggling with that I need to work on is billing. And so he was like, okay. And so he was like, describe to us what's going on then, yeah. And so I told him about, how I'm behind. I'm behind like 6 weeks. And that's really pretty good for me. And so he was like, oh, okay. So he was like, do you have a trust fund? And I was like, no, I don't have a trust fund. And so he was like, so why are you so far behind on your billing if you don't have a trust fund? And he was like, is there some kind of lump sum of money that you have? And I'm like, no. And so he was like, okay. So, but you're, so just asking questions and stuff like that. And so he came to a part to where he was like, I want to ask you, after I kept on explaining and stuff like that. And so he came to this part, and he was just like, this is where I really had to sit in my whole thought process, where I really were somebody that calls you out on things that you don't even see. And he did, like, it was in a therapeutic way, but he really did call me out, and I really had to think about it. He was like, Danielle, like, I want to understand a little bit deeper. I want you to go a little bit deeper about why you're struggling with your billing. He was like, because I just don't think that is that you just hate paperwork. He was like, I think it's a little bit more deeper than that. So let's really talk about it. And so I was like, okay, let's talk about it. Go ahead and do your little therapist thing. I'm here. I'll listen. And so, y'all, he said, and it really, like, now just thinking about it, after I processed it a little bit more, he was like, as African American, we tend to identify with struggle. And he was like, as you were talking, you kept talking about the struggle. And he was like, sometimes we identify more with struggling versus living in abundance. And I was like, wait a minute, like, hold up, let me see. Because, like, that's not me. And that's what I'm thinking. Surface, I'm thinking like, that's not me. I'm here for the abundance. I am not here necessarily for the struggle. And so he was just like, just really think about that. And so I started thinking about it, and I was like, wait, there's some truth to what he said, is that, we identify more with struggle. Like it's okay. And I really thought about it, like, from over my lifespan, how, like, how I grew up with a single parent home and how I struggled. Like, I know what struggling looks like. Tell me what abundance, living with more, what does that look like? I have no idea. No idea. Like, I have a little bit of idea because I lived a little bit in abundance. Well, not abundance. I had like a few extra dollars or whatever when I was working, but struggling, I know what that looks like. I can identify because that's what I've seen my entire life. Now you tell me what it looks like. What does it look like to have more than enough? I have no idea what that looks like. And so I was like, wow. Like, like, it really made me think. And he was like, I think it's a little bit deeper than you not billing correctly or you billing on time. He was like, do you, like, y'all, like, as I'm sitting here talking to this microphone, talking to you guys, and like really trying to understand, like, what I'm saying, and like, really trying to process this. Like, my mom did the best that she could, and I'm appreciative and all this other kind of stuff. And I just, like, it really blew my mind about how I identify more with the struggle and how I can't even fathom sometimes the thought of what it looks like to live in abundance. And so it just really had me thinking about it, and it carried on. Like, not only did I have the mastermind group that really had me thinking about this whole word struggle and all this other kind of stuff. So we devised a plan of action for myself to get caught up on billing and things of that nature. And but like, I told them what my 2020 goal is. Like, I want to make $210,000, right? And so he was like, okay, you want to make that, but do you believe that you can make it? And I was like, he was like, can you see yourself living with that much of, abundance? I was like, so it's easy and so that's all I could think about was, it's easy for me to say that I want to make $210,000, but the underlying issue, the underlying thing, do I think, do I feel, and do I deserve to make that much money? I've never seen anybody in my family make the amount of money that I've made. Okay? So last year, I made close to about, especially when I was working 2 jobs, I made like 80 something $1,000. So that was 1 year though. Yeah, I'm not saying like, but last year I made about $75,000. So now I'm telling myself that $210,000, and you're gonna be responsible yourself. You know, like I'm not clocking in at a job. You're gonna be, and so it's just like, and y'all, since I have worked in private practice, my whole mindset has changed. Truth be told, like, because I just thinking about, like, my whole mind has changed to just survival. Like when I probably was working at a 9 to 5 at somebody else's job, yeah, I probably could fathom, because I know that they would pay me. Girl, y'all. So while I'm sitting up here talking to y'all, and it just dropped in my spirit. So God was like, and y'all, wow. God was just like, so you have more faith in man to pay you that 75, then you have more faith in me, the Father, the source, the ultimate creator, to bless you with $210,000. So I have more faith in the 75 in man than I do God. Like, ooh, girl, guys, the mask is coming down. Like, wow. That's all I can say is, like, I know y'all are like, Danielle, like these long pauses, but like I have to put this long pause in here because I'm processing this stuff as I talk to you guys. Like, Southern Therapy just isn't a title. Like, it's really therapy for me when I process some of this stuff. Wow. So, mm, mm, mm. I do know one thing, and I can stand firm on that. That $210,000 will honestly be something that God orchestrate. Because I don't know how to make $210,000. Can I tell you about how to make about 50 to 75,000? Yeah, I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Oh, we do this. Oh, I can do this. I can do that. But now we talking about living in abundance. I can tell you, like I told y'all, I can tell you about the struggle, but I don't know about this abundance thing. Whew. That's right. That right there in the words of my friend Tay. Ooh, daughter. That's deep, daughter. So, yeah, y'all. If y'all got any suggestions, if y'all got any comments, please help your girl out. So like, yeah, I'm gonna leave that right there, and I'm gonna listen to this podcast again so that I can understand. But I'm gonna leave that right there, right? And I'm gonna jump on to topic number 2, right? And so, oh yeah, okay. Before I go to topic number 2, me and my friends we are actually going to. If y'all heard me talk about this man before, Mike Todd with Transformation Church, like, OMG, dude is really, Transformation is the best name they could have named that church. He's on the whole series about crazy faith, right? And so, we're going to Tulsa. We're going to that church, like, because the series has impacted each of my friends. Like, I have a core group of friends. There's about 7 to 8 of us. And so, like, when I had somebody had sent it to me. Yeah, my guy friend, Justin from Baton Rouge, he had sent it to me. And he was like, "You need to check this out." This is like about when it was on part one and two. So he sent it to me, and so I was like, "Okay, Justin, He's saved, child. Super saved. So I was like, okay, just let me check it out. So I think he had sent it to me. Like, I didn't check it out until like a week or two later. And so I looked at it, I listened to it. I was like, bruh. Like it was so good. And so I text my friends. I was like, y'all, look, y'all need to talk. Y'all, blah, blah, ooh, just like Mike Todd, he this, he that. And so they was like, okay, they just like me. I don't think they checked it out right away neither, but I kept talking about it because he kept releasing something else. So everybody started going seeing it, and so we all was just like, bruh, you saw boo 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 boo. And so I was like, yeah. And so I can't remember who said, that that they would like to go to Tulsa. And I was like, we were just like, oh, y'all want to go? Because we have like an annual Christmas shindig. We call it Sister Circle Christmas shindig. And it's every year. Is usually around the 1st of December and things of that nature. However, we moved it back. And when we decided that we wanted to go to Tulsa, we moved it back to like the second week of December and things of that nature, because one of my friends' mom passed away last year, so it'll be their first time celebrating their mom passing, first year. And so we just like, no, we'll wait, we'll give her time with her family and stuff like that, and then like she'll have that time with her family, then the next weekend she'll have that time with us, so of course we can love on her and stuff like that, and then we'll be going to see Mike Todd. Like, so excited about that. Like, so excited about that. And then, not only, like, when we chose this date a couple of months ago, we didn't know. We were just like, hey, this is the best date for us, and stuff like that. And so I was watching last week's episode, and not only is it going to be that we're going up there to go and see them, but it's also going to be their Sunday where they're asking for they're not asking for a certain amount of money, but they're asking for a special offering. And so I was just like, wow, I can only imagine, like, it's gonna be dumb, stupid, dumb, spirit energy high. So like, I can only imagine what it's going to be like there. So, but nonetheless, sidebar, but I don't know how I got off on that. That's a whole tangent. But yeah, so we're super excited. So we're going to go in December. And so he said that when you give, and what I like about Mike, he's saying he's not telling you amount to give. He's telling you to go seek God and allow God to tell you what to give. And like, I mean, you don't have to give or anything like that. He's not pressuring you. But so I was just like, okay, I'll seek God, because I'll probably give, and so when I was talking to you guys, like, it fell in my spirit. He was like, on the envelope, write what you want God to do on the envelope with on the envelope with your seed. And so while I was talking to you guys just minutes ago, like, the word mind shift, like a shifting in my mind, in my mindset, a new mindset needs to happen for me. Like, that's what I want to put on my envelope for my seed. Like, I need a whole shift in mindset about, like I told you guys, I know what the struggle looks like. So a lot of times I'm operating from the eyes of struggle, not even thinking about the abundance, the overflow that God has the ability to provide. Y'all get what I'm saying? I hope that y'all are getting what I'm saying. Okay? So that's probably what's going to go on mine. But nonetheless, so moving into the second topic that I'm going to talk about. So of course I had the mastermind group, and this goes back, like, it's really all tying back to the whole struggle mindset that I have, that I identify with. So I have the mastermind group from 11 to 1. Then I go to a coaching session. I had the ability to somebody, guy works in mysterious ways, man, y'all. So I met this guy a couple of months ago. His name was Kevin. And so he works with United Way. And so they have so much grant funds that they have to help small business owners. And so, I was just telling him about my business. And so he was just like, although we would like the business to be in Pineville, but since you're right across the water and we have these slots and I need to use the funds before, the end of, I think he said they go away in November or something like that. He had identified students by then. He was like, so hey, we'll get you in. And I'm like, okay. So that was my first time meeting with her. And y'all, that's all I can say. Sis got me together, and it was just the introductory meeting. Like, it wasn't even the it wasn't even a really in-depth meeting, but y'all, I experienced so many emotions while just talking to her. And it was emotions of, oh, I'm excited, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed, I feel defeated, I feel discouraged, I feel motivated, I feel inspired. Like, I mean, all these emotions is really going through my mind, my body as we talk. And it just went back to the whole struggle mindset that I need to shift. We talked about, the amount of money that I wanted to make. And when I told her the amount of money that I wanted to make, she was like, you do not sound confident. I was like, yeah. And so she was like, if you don't feel confident, if you don't sound confident, she's like, there's a strong possibility that you're not going to make it. And so she was like, why you don't sound, strong, why you don't feel confident in the ability of the money that you can make, Danielle? And I was like, well, and so, I broke down my number and all of that stuff. And so she was like, your number is high. And so she started telling me about a solid number, what she think that, that I could make. Y'all know my number is $210,000. So she was like, I think that you can make a solid 140 to 160. She was like, that's what I think that you can make. She was like, just off the top, I feel like you can make that. And so I was like, okay, and yet again, even with her dropping the number down to 140, I still have this feeling of like, wow, like, do I deserve to make that kind of money? Like, can I make that kind of money? What does that, like, yet again, the struggle mindset. Like, I will work my butt off. I would work my butt off to try it, but I would sabotage myself in other areas to where I wouldn't make it. So, like, now, I feel like I'm doing a little bit of self-sabotaging. Like, because it's an underlying issue. Like, now my client, I like with me being behind in billing, that's not good, because it's like with me being behind on billing, like, I can't get the things that I want or that I need to do because the revenue is not coming in on a consistent basis. So it's self-sabotaging, and it's like just, y'all, today was such an eye-opener. This is why I'm saying that I need the underlying issue, y'all. A lot of times in therapy, I talk about this all the time, in therapy, there's surface. Like, people like to stay on this surface level, but we have to get to the underlying, the root issue. And for me, if you looking, my root issue is the struggle. I identified I have a struggle mindset. And I have a mindset where, I don't think that I deserve to make this kind of money or whatever that is, struggle mindset, right? And so it's manifesting in other ways. It's manifesting in me not billing properly and me not billing on time like I should. And so if you look at just me not billing on time, you would be like, I said it like I'm lazy, like I've been lazy and stuff. But no, like that's not the root issue. And so I would, Lord have mercy, I'm going back to therapy terms. So people would treat, like a doctor would treat the surface issue, but they will not treat the underlying issue. And I didn't realize what the underlying issue was until today when I was in the mastermind group. And then truthfully, if I continue to think about it, there may be something else up under there that I need to uncover. So, yeah, y'all, that's my mask. And here I am thinking that, that I was okay with finances. Yes, here I am thinking that, like, I'm okay with finances. I'm the financial therapist and I do this. And it's like, wait a minute, sis. You may not. You know? There may be something that you need to work on as you're helping clients work on it. You need to work on your mind frame. Like, you need to really see what's going on there and work that out. And it makes me think of, okay, so like I was telling you guys about Mike Todd in Transformation Church. Well, yesterday I watched the sermon and he had a friend come be the guest pastor. His name is Daniel. And he talked about blazy faith. And y'all, when I tell y'all, if y'all haven't went and seen it, go check it out. It was super duper amazing. And so he talked about the three Hebrew boys who was thrown into the fiery furnace and stuff like that. And so he broke down that scripture and like dude broke it down in a way that I have not heard pastors talk about it before. And he was talking about, about that type of faith and that type of confidence that you need to have in God and stuff. And so, like, y'all, when he was breaking it down and when he was talking about the scriptures, like, dude had like a whole, like a cadence that I want to say, like a whole cadence about, about the scriptures that he was reciting about speaking life into our situations. Like, that is one thing that I do not do. I can be going through stuff and I will not speak life into it. I will not speak the promises of God. I will just sit there. And so he was like, no, you have to speak life. You have to speak the promises of God in it. And he was like, and not only do you have to speak it, but you got to speak it with authority and confidence and knowing who God really is. And so, y'all, he had this whole, when I tell y'all, like, I was like, come on, preacher, you better preach. I'm all at the house, y'all. Like, if I was probably at Transformation Church, y'all, I probably would be running somewhere, child. Because, like, he preached it. And he meant it. And so, like, I was just like, oh, my God. Like, that's what I need to do for myself. I need to quote the scripture to myself, quote the scripture to my whole problems and trials, tribulation, and really believe in what the word says and things of that nature. So, like, the whole mind shift, that's where I'm at. Shifting my whole thought process, challenging every thought that I have, because right now I'm not okay with this whole struggle mindset that I have. I'm not okay with it. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not okay with that. And it took, wow. So, y'all, that was a lot. That was a lot. It is 40 minutes of me recording too, y'all. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get on up out of here, y'all. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's session. Also make sure you comment on the session. Like if you're listening then to this from Apple, make sure you comment, because I know a lot of times you guys, you will send the comments to me, but I need you to comment on Apple. I need you to rate it on Apple too, or whatever, so that they can see that people really are listening to it. And make sure y'all download these podcasts too, because they do look at downloading as well as just listening to it. But nonetheless, you guys, if y'all like it, make sure y'all share this with a friend. As I come out, I feel like right now I've done work tonight. Like really real live work, as far as in like therapy. Like if it would have been one of my clients, I would have been like, girl, you put in some good work today. And that's kind of like how I feel about myself right now. Like, just, girl, you put in some good work tonight. Like, you really figuring this stuff out. You know? That's what this whole podcast is about. Southern therapy, really just bearing my soul. And again, like, yeah, we go through stuff so other people can be helped with it too. So, but nonetheless, you guys, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to this podcast channel wherever y'all are listening, streaming this from. And I shall see y'all on next week. Make sure y'all have a great weekend, and make sure you start speaking life into your situation. Power and death lies in the tongue. So I speak blessings. I speak greatness over your lives. I speak peace. I speak abundance over you guys' lives. I speak joy. I speak happiness. And I speak that you guys and myself can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. He is our head, and we'll follow him. So y'all be blessed. I'll talk to y'all next week.